Hi, welcome to Building SaaS with Python and Django. My name is Matt Lehman, and on this stream we work on Django apps. We're going to continue on my app this evening and work through a sign-up process that we started last week. So let's just jump right into it. You're welcome to ask me anything about Python, Django, or web development. That's what I'm here for, and also here to work on this project. So we have this sign-up issue that we've got here. The goal of the change that we're making is to simplify sign up to make it just email based and eliminate the need for passwords by doing a magic link based flow. The app that we're creating I've already created is a journaling application, and it works via email. So it's a very natural fit to make everything interactive through email. So let's get over to the code and get to it. Last time we finished off, I can refresh just a little bit just to orient people. We have a view that is our new, well, it's not that. It is, oh, I remember now, we had to move it to our index page. So the index page of the app is going to have a sign up form that will allow people to sign up. And we have this process of where you will go if the actual form is successful, but we've not done any of the front-end work to actually enable this process. So we're going to be getting rid of all of the old sign-up pages and logout pages and all that sort of stuff, and replacing it with this new method of doing the app here. So let's start with the actual template to expose the form that we have now that's available in the context. So that would be a good place to go. Let's go to the core index page. And there's actually two different rendering pages here. In this case, when we're doing a sign-up flow, the user is not going to be authenticated. This is for the unauthenticated view. So we wanted to go to the unauthenticated version of this page, and let's bring it up side by side so you can actually see what this looks like. And I want to be able to iterate on this as well. So this will be useful here. So we're going to go to localhost. That should be at port 8000. And I don't think I'm logged in. Good. So this is the page you're seeing right now. We're going to modify this to suit our needs. And basically, we're going to wrap this in this button in a box and actually put a form there. So where today it's just a sign up button that takes you to the sign up page, and I want to get rid of this and just simplify a bunch of this stuff. So we'll capture a few of these things here. So probably we'll use this side by side to actually take a look at what we're doing. Okay, coming over to the actual app here, and let's bring up as well. I had that task now. We don't need that yet. Let's bring up. I don't even think we need this view because we've already done everything we need to here. So let's bring up the sign up page. We're not going to change the title. We're going to leave the title for the actual app here. And then I guess we will keep the sign up flag. That's useful because that's controlling whether I want to allow sign up or not. And then we can take advantage of some of these other things that are here. So notice that we go look at the login page. I'll keep them up so we can go do side-by-side comparisons. That must be off. Why is that? Oh, I'm not looking at the right page. Sorry. Let's go here, go back, and actually go to the sign-up page. That's where we wanted to truly go. So this is going to be the thing that we're going to put in a little box, something like this, and let's copy it over. Where the form itself is going to change in a pretty significant way, but a lot of this is stuff we can use. So if I take all of this content and we're going to drop it right, well, I don't know where the best fit is yet, but I'm going to put it inside the box, then we'll play with it. We'll put it at the bottom. This sign up link is going to go away, but I want to see it all in play at once. And so that's that. we're also going to need to bring in both the account tags and the waffle tag. So the account tag is for this available trial slots data that we're pulling from the database, and the waffle tags is what allows us to do the feature flag item here. So that's everything that's needed. We should be able to go back and refresh this page, and hopefully nothing blows up on us. Okay, so clearly it's not there yet. The styling is not right, but we've got a starting point. Okay, first things first, let's get rid of that sign up button. That's not what we need. And now we've got this. It's a little bit closer. We also don't need, and while I'm here, I guess that was hard to see because my head's in the way. Let's get rid of well, actually, you know what we can do? We have the form now embedded in the context. We should be able to do something like, can we just do form? I don't know that that works, but let's see. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's showing, there's no styling. This is the problem. Eventually, I will want to like style inputs and stuff using Django. Django has some new features to allow you to customize, override the like default styles. But we're not there yet. So I'm going to continue to like just kind of use the actual named things that I know they are. And we already have we know that, in fact, this is actually pretty close to what we need. The form that we created has a name of email in it. It's actually the appropriate thing right there. So we've got we're going to do a post to this page. That's still right. We don't need to put the action on here because that would be redundant. And yeah, so far so good. So let's continue to take a look. You know, I think this could use a little bit of like love from the look of it. The challenge is like some of this was intended to be, here's kind of a letter and here's the call to action. That was how it is. But now we're flipping things, so it's a bit more. There's more going on here. So I think what we want to do. What do we want to do? Let me think on this for a moment. You know, honestly, I'm not even sure how enticing this public beta thing is. I might just get rid of it. Let's see what it looks like without it, just for the sake of going through this. We're gonna take out this, and then we get this really, now it's pretty simple. We could go a step farther. Let's see. The other bit I'm noticing, like, we're kind of all over the map in terms of, this is like gray text, and now this is this thing, and then this smaller stuff. The other thing about this that we need to correct is that we need to tell people, this is also going to double as the sign in flow. In fact, the right name for this is not going to be sign up. It will be, we called this, I think we called it sign in. Whoops. So let's go change this. Wow, what's going on? Sign in, try that. I don't know that I like that. Sign in as an action. Sign in. So the other thing that we need to say eventually is like the call, the actual like, this is right here is called like click wrapping. Kind of the, when you are from a like legal perspective, it's like a way to say you agree to both of these things. I mean, it literally says it. And this has some, my understanding, I'm not a lawyer, but my understanding is this has some legal, like actual legal merit. So that if you have clicked this button, you have consented to these things. We have to, I believe we have to keep this here to give people an opportunity to say, or to have selected that yes, they agreed to those terms. And this is a simple site. The terms of the site are, you could read both of these pages in 5 minutes. So I think I don't feel bad. It's not like I'm giving the EULA, classic EULA agreement that has a huge amount of stuff in it. But we need to have the messaging be a little bit different here. This is like for new users, by continuing, that's what we're really going after. So like, you don't need to agree to that every time. It only really impacts you if you're new. In fact, I want to go back to last time I talked about Peter Levels. Levels has stuff on X, and I want to go. The reason I'm going back to his X account is just so I can click on one of his apps and see how he did it. Well, there's no like call to action there. That's not what I was thinking. So maybe his thinking is like, we don't even need to tell them. Well, okay. So he's got a more serious call to action now, which I think is actually interesting. So it sort of takes it away from like, what are you trying to get people to do? They're not signing up. You're like, really, we're gonna say like, start like yeah, okay. I'm changing my mind about what I want this to be. Let's see, start journaling today. How's that? That's like a more clear, like, here's what you're doing, here's why you'd want to sign up. And so we need to say then two things. We need to follow suit, like what he's doing is like, if you already have an account, we'll log you in. That is good text. I'm just gonna, thank you, Peter. I'm gonna steal that. Borrow it. Like a good artist, right? And then we're gonna have to mess around with I'm sure we'll have to mess around with the padding. I'm sure this is not right, but let's start there. See what that does to our page. Let me get off this one. That's the other one. We don't want that anymore. So let's look at this. Yeah, that's definitely like wrong in terms of spacing and stuff. Let's do MT2. The other bit about this that I think I want is, I don't like how this, like, look how gnarly the right edge, if you're like following your eye here, looks kind of crazy. So let me think about how I want this to present this. Maybe first thing let's try is just switching it to be, instead of divs and stuff, what happens if we just bring this in here for the moment? Whoa. That was not what I expected. Oh, because that was the button. My bad. Label, input. Okay, let's make this not a block, I think. That'll make this inline. Okay. And then we can let's put some margin around this stuff. Class of, I don't know, M4? I'm not sure. Oh, but that indents it. So MY4. So just vertical margin. And then, yeah, I still don't feel good about how this looks. Just feels wrong. Feels wrong. Let's try something else. Let's take the whole thing and wrap it in a div. Let's put that there and that there. And the goal of this, oh boo. The goal here is to give us a place that we can like make it so that it's not, so call it out as something different. For example, let's try a border on it for a minute, just to start like showing what we could do. So it's got a border that looks awful, obviously, at this current moment. So let's say we have the sign up one. Does that have a max width? It does. So let's set a max width of medium. And now we get this stuff where, okay, it's over, so that's getting closer. How about we do, if we center it now? So we've got it centered. It's starting to get a little bit like more as a unit, which is what I'm going for. And hopefully catching attention. Like, now we still have a bunch of ways to go. It looks like garbage still, but we're on our way. So let's try to put some internal padding on all that div. So maybe, I don't know, maybe 8. So that starts to separate it. Let me look back at this. Is there any like, yeah, okay. It feels like there's something missing here to me. The other thing I'm thinking about doing is maybe putting an MX, like center the button. MX auto. Will that do what I want? No, that doesn't do what I want. Yeah, because there's no like width on this. I want to do it on the button. But it's not a block element, so I don't think this is going to work. Block, will that work? There we go. So, but now, I mean, that looks strange. But I'm just trying to like play with some stuff. So far in this app, I've gone for like an angular look on buttons and things. And maybe we want to continue that. So the next thing I want to consider trying. Oh, I know something we can do. That email field probably has some height on it. So let's inspect some of this stuff. So we've got this class, this my4 that I added earlier, but I don't think that that's appropriate anymore if we're putting this big container thing. Let's take that off. Or, you know what, we want to keep it, but just make it M B4. We want to have the separation between the button, but not between the top. I want there to be a consistent like M8, a margin 8 around the whole thing, which is that's what that accomplishes by getting rid of that top margin, you know, the vertical, the top half of this spacing that we did on the vertical. I guess the other thing we could try is just like we did MX auto here. This is not going to work here, is it? It's not the right spot. No, not the right spot. Trying to think if I want this moved over, or I guess we could do, what else could we do? Oh, we could totally get rid of the label and just put placeholder if we wanted to, which would give us a different kind of look. Let's try, before we get rid of the label, let's take a look at what placeholder would look like. So if we come to the end of this and put placeholder and say email, how does that look? Okay, looks terrible, but we're getting a little closer. So we could do then padding of 2, maybe. Okay, we're starting to get, and then if we drop the label, it's going to be way over there, which looks so dumb. But now we can put like MX auto on just this input thing. Ah, shoot. Again, it has to be a block. But does that, gosh, at that point, does that look stupid? Like, what if neither of these were blocks? And we just say start journaling and have it be, well, let's try it. Let's take this chunk for a minute. I'm not sure if I want to keep this or not, so what I'm going to do is take this and comment that out. And then I think the simplest thing we do is just put these in the same area. They'll be right next to each other. Nope, they're both set to be blocks currently. Hey Abe, yeah, I'd be happy to talk about desk setup, all that sort of stuff shortly. Let me get a little bit. Let me get some styling on this, and then I'll take a break to talk about those things. Okay, why are these? Maybe it doesn't fit. Start. So let's. And if that doesn't fit, okay. That's right. But now I'm afraid. Like, okay, the other problem with this is if I go mobile, we have to also like pay attention to mobile sizes. And that looks silly at mobile. So it's okay. I'll get this going the way I want it to first, and then we'll come back. I do feel like I like this look already better than the previous one. So let's delete this other stuff. And then with that, we have now we've got this paragraph tag and this margin bottom that are like doing double duty, maybe? Like if I get rid of this MB4, what's that gonna do? Nothing. Okay. Okay, so we're in the right ballpark. I think it would be more interesting to make the border have the color that I want. So let's I don't remember what my colors are, so let's find the right color. BG Lime 800. So what if we try border Lime 800? That should be the background color. But the problem with if you only have enough, a small number of pixels, especially something this thin, is it tends to, your eye is so drawn to the white that it's going to lighten, like, even though this might be the right green for this, I have a feeling if we try this, it's going to look like a light green. Oh, it's the opposite effect. Like you can't, yeah. It's like too dark almost. So what if we just keep, I want to get it like enough so that it gets the eye, but not feel like it's the wrong tone. I don't know. That seems not bad. Got a little bit of a pop from the green compared to the dark green, and I don't know. It seems pretty good. If you already have an account, we'll log you in. For new users, by continuing, you agree to this terms. Okay, that feels decent. And then by the fact that it has a separator, I no longer feel so guilty about like the styling. The contrast between this line and the lines that were before it was really bad. So we can put in, some kind of email address. It's got a placeholder. We've got that. All right. Let me do a little bit of like mobile styling in case somebody wants to sign up on their phone. Wrong thing that I tried. And then we'll Then I'll get to Abe's question there. So one thing that's really, really obvious is there's way too much padding on the mobile styling. So what we need to do is go to this padding 8 and probably do something like padding 2 and set it so that beyond the mobile font size, that's when we'll go to padding 8. Two's too small. 4. Okay, so that gets a sort of a symmetry between this and this. It wraps the button, which I think is not a fantastic look, but I think it's okay. I mean, even like this needs work. Like this looks silly just to go vertically with that. But so then we get this experience where now you're gonna have, we'll get rid of that login button. That'll go away. It'll just be like this clean journey inbox, kind of a letter. You can try it, sign up, start. Feels pretty good. Okay, I think that I'm happy with where that is. We'll test all this out too to make sure that the whole flow is actually working. Now, Gabe, to get to your, Abe, to get to your questions, desktop setup. I'm running a Mac M1, Mac M1 Mini, so it's not a laptop. It's an actual just mini machine that's sitting here, and camera, green screen. Gosh, I bought one of the. I could probably drop some like Amazon links if you wanted one. The green screen I have is an Amazon Elgato, but the biggest one. Elgato. Why am I typing Amazon? Not an Amazon. Sorry, Elgato green screen. And there's like just a gigantic one, and that's the one I got. So I think it's the XL. I don't know. Whatever the biggest size was, I read through these and like so I want to say is this one, and just so you're aware, like, okay, that I don't know, that's maybe like a 24 inches behind me. It's big enough that I can move my chair. I can move my chair back a little bit and not hit it. But it's also not so far away, because if I go too much farther away, which I'll get to the camera in a minute, if I go too much farther away, you will see the boundaries of it. So it's enough to keep everything in frame. And I initially tried one of these. So this is I guess if you're thinking about streaming, I tried one of these things that would mount to the back of my chair, and it was a fairly large circular thing. And I thought by being close enough that would do the trick. It didn't. What happened was, even with that, the very corners, like up here, which hand is it? This hand, yeah, up here. Like you could periodically see, especially if I moved at all, like the circle would, the illusion would break. So there was that. The other aspect of it that I didn't consider is, because it was circular and it was wrapping on this chair. The chair that I'm sitting in actually has a little bit of a bend in the back, and so it was causing the surface to be slightly convex. Sorry. And what the impact of that is that my key light up here, it was causing uneven lighting, and then the effect of that would be that the filter that I have on Streamlabs to filter out the right green, it couldn't get the right green right. And like I found that actually that getting the proper filtration, and even you can probably even see it, like my hand is got a bit of a green fuzz around my fingers. I've not really been able to dial that in perfectly so that you get a super crisp image of me without some amount of green. I haven't figured it out, but that's been my setup. So that's the green screen, really big one right behind me. Here, shoot you a link if you want this one. There's that. Is that gonna paste well? Oh, it's too big. Oh, come on, Amazon. Anyway, you can search for it. I don't have, if I was logged in, I could probably give you like a referral link or something that would be shorter, but I'm not logged in and I don't want to do that right now. So there's that. Other bits. And if you have a particular impact or a question about a certain part, let me know. The other major elements here are this mic. This is an Audio Technica. It's an ATR 2100 USB. So I don't have like one of those $400 Shure mics. That's not what I have. But it's I think the audio sounds pretty good on it. I've actually used it for podcasting at one point, and it is one of these mics where you kind of have to be right up on it to get the right sound quality. I've noticed that I can kind of have it like away from my chin. Some of them you have to be like talking directly into it, almost like making out with a thing, and that's not what I'm doing here. The last bit that I have, there's an Elgato stream camera. I've got a bunch of Elgato gear. So this is the face cam I have, I think. Oh, nope. Yeah, it's one of these. And what I like about this one, so when I was researching cameras, the challenge that a bunch of cameras can have is you can get a really nice camera. You can get a very fancy DSLR, or a bunch of different like webcams. But what they have about them is they have like auto adjust. I'm sure you've all seen this, where like, or you've experienced this yourself, where your focus is changing. Like you might be in a Zoom meet or a Google meet or something like that, and you suddenly go blurry because your camera changed what it was focusing on. The nice part about this particular webcam, the face cam, is that it's a fixed length focal point because they've designed it specifically with it's for streaming. So it's designed to have a focal point that's around where my face is, and so it gets that clarity there. So that's a pretty nice piece of gear. The only other bit that I think is important that's relevant is my key light up here. You need plenty of lighting to get. I could actually do with having a secondary. So I might be getting the terms wrong. It might not be called a key light now that I'm saying that. But this is my primary light source up there. Again, I'm gonna sound like a shill for Elgato, but it's the gear I've got. So what can I say? Key light. Yeah, it is a key light. Okay, so I've got the Elgato. It's a pretty big thing, and it mounts this table. And actually, my table is actually a workbench, or it's a Husky workbench that I got at a Home Depot or a Lowe's. So got this fairly cheap. I didn't spend a ton for a desk. I just need to be able to I need something sturdy, which this is, and have that. So that's most of my setup. The only other bit is this that I think might be relevant is I've got a EL2T boom arm here that keeps it so hard to see, but I've got it mounted. It's kind of an angle bracket or an angle joint here that mounts to the corner of my desk, and it kind of comes down and puts the mic right in my face, and then I can do this number. So that's the main pieces of gear that I've got. Hopefully that helps you with some stuff. As far as NeoVim, I've been really happy with it. I've got my plugins kind of dialed in. I don't really make a lot of modifications to it day to day, and I've been using Vim for eons at this point. So yeah, that's sort of the setup I've got so far. The other things I want to change, like I'll toggle to one of these really quickly. I gotta fix these. These are garbage. So those are things that there's always more work to do with setup stuff, this kind of setup stuff. But I think I've got it dialed in, so it's at least useful for communicating and getting the point across for actually showing off stuff. All right, so let's get let's get back to this stuff and get testing out some of these things. I think what we want to try at this point, I think I have enough information to try out this flow for the local testing. So this, if I've done everything right so far, if we did everything last time, what this should do, there's a big important missing piece here that actually won't let us log in. So it will, okay, where are we? Let's take a look. So if we go back to our index view, so it would get me as far as saying, hey, check your mail. And it would create a user account. But this, the form here that we've got, it kicks off this job right now. And this job doesn't do anything. So this is where you'd actually log in, and we haven't done any of that work yet. So I think before we can do an effective end-to-end test, we need to make this work. But I believe all the pieces are here otherwise. And with any luck, I think we'll be able to test out the sign-up flow this evening. That would be my objective. It'd be nice to complete that much. The allow thing is not a Django thing. I'm happy to talk about it. So let's say we've got that piece done. Ooh, fancy new animation. Crazy. No, so I have on my views something I wrote actually, and this is before this. So there's a new scheme out of the latest version of Django. I think it was either 5.0 or 5.1, where you can set your app to be a point of view where everything is denied by default. I wrote something myself to implement this kind of scheme because the apps that I'm working on, the apps that I'm showing you here, are typically like, ultimately, it's like I want to have a paid service. So rather than making it so I have to remember to add the right the right authorization to everything, and if I forget I've left something open, this is actually flipping that to like what the default Django stuff can do now. Yes, the enforce login middleware, that's exactly it. So I created this before that enforce login middleware existed, but it's my take on how that would work. And it's a very similar principle. You add a middleware to it, and then the difference is like comes down to like some of the usage patterns. So I have some decorators where you essentially, if you don't add one of these decorators to a view, it will make it so that it will, I don't remember the status code that it does. 4050 something, 502, I don't remember. That's not right. It's not 502. Whatever. There's some status code I'm drawing a blank on. That's the right one right now. But you have to add these different decorators, either allow or authorize. And the concept is allow is like basically you're logged in. This is the login required decorator equivalent for my particular thing here. But really, most of the views where you actually have some logic that, and this particular app doesn't really demonstrate this well yet, is you'd want this authorize aspect on it. And authorize takes a callable and does a check on whether you're allowed to do something. So here's an example where you have a view and you put in this authorizer, and your authorizer might check of like, hey, are you the owner of the particular object you're going to try and access right now? And yeah, like I've got an example in the project. I'll drop this. This is actually useful to share. And I've been using this. Whoops. Gosh, I am on my Linux machine now, and I'm getting back to using control, and I'm not. Then I come back to this Mac machine and forget I'm supposed to use command. So there's Django denied. So there's an example here that shows you like how it's supposed to look, how you can have a task authorizer to make sure that you're the right owner of this. Now, curiously, where I would like to go with this this particular Django app is I'm thinking of writing a SQLite multi-tenancy app or a package that would do multi-tenancy and split out data for each user. And in that universe, a lot of Django Denied's functionality is no longer necessary. I don't know if that's totally true, but I have desire to make it so that you can only access your own data in a separate SQLite database. That is way down the road, though. I'm not really there yet. I really want to get this done. So that's what's going on with that particular decorator stuff you saw. Okay, let's do this. Let's implement this generate magic link task and get to it. So we know this goes to the right place. Let's go here. We know this goes. So this is what is going to create the user, and then we're firing a background job that is going to be using, it's a Huey-based background system, and the background job is what's actually going to send the email. So the whole flow with this simplified sign-up thing is that you only log in via a magic link and an email address. So we're going to do stuff where we will get the user, and thankfully this is should be a very simple operation at this point, because over in the form, like, we just created a user object and we passed it the ID. So it's just an access to get a particular ID. So we will do user.objects.get, and the ID is equal to the user ID. I'll write a test for this in a little bit, but I just want to like sketch out what this is going to be, because that's the core of it. The other bit here, this is where we need to actually generate our magic link. This is where we're coming back to django-sesame and going to use some of the utilities that they have available. So Sesame utils looks like you pass in the login URL, which is going to be what? Hold on 1 second. So, okay, got the login URL is this thing right here. So this is going to look like, I mean, if we just if we follow along with the way that django-sesame has it in the example, it would be something like login URL, URL is equal to https://journey inbox. And this is not what I want to do, but I just want to show what this looks like, /login. That's what maps to this particular route. So we use this Sesame login. This Sesame login is the thing that comes from this package that will actually take the token link that django-sesame will generate and allow you to log in. But we don't want to do it this way. Instead, I want to be able to generate this, like put this together from something else. I have, well, hold on, let me confirm. And I probably killed the site now because of that. Let's bring this back up. Let's go to the admin page for our site on port 8000. Oh, what is it? Token, shoot, token admin, something like that. What the heck was that? 003. What? Get out of here. What did I do wrong? Token admin. That's 5,000, so that's wrong, but okay, there we go. And then oh shoot, what's the, never remember, mat and create horse. Okay, so we should be able to do mat create horse for this local data, and we're using, partly as a side effect of using, ironically, Django all-auth, which I'm planning to get rid of, we are using the sites framework. And the sites framework is where you are able to get like a domain and stuff. So what we want to do, or what we can do, is query the site, and there's probably, I think I did a site ID. Oh goodness, I'm really site Yep, site ID, which should map to this record. I don't know if that was the intent here with site ID. Actually, I'm curious. I don't know. So rather than guess, let's take a look. What is the site framework site ID? Look for that setting. Site ID specifies the database ID of the site object associated with a particular settings file. Okay. If the setting is omitted, the getCurrentSite function will compare to the domain name. All right, great. That's exactly what I want. So it looks like I was about to like call this with passing in the ID, but that's dumb. It's right here on the shortcuts for this package. So contrib shortcuts, getCurrentSite. So what we want is from Django contrib sites shortcuts import getCurrentSite. Yeah. I do remember that sites is like, I think it was motivated on having multiple domains was kind of in the spirit of, remember that Django itself was born out of a newspaper. And the newspaper they wanted to serve multiple different newspapers, if I recall, or some variant of that through the same website. So they built the sites framework to make that possible. So what we want to do is get the site from getCurrentSite. And we're not going to pass in a request. I don't think we have to. Do we have to pass in the request? Well, let's see what happens if we don't pass in the request. And my objective here is to have like access to the actual, the whole thing I'm trying to do is get this, the domain stuff that we want to build. Now, but the problem I might be experiencing is like, does it have the protocol? Is it, or is it just the domain name? It might just be the domain name, which is a big bummer. I always forget, is there a way? Okay, Chat GPT, come on. In Django, is there a way to determine? No, it wouldn't be. Because this is coming. The app server. Yeah, the app server is not going to know whether it's served with HTTPS or not. So, but I've done this before. I did this with the, what did I do? Sorry, y'all, I'm a little all over the place, but I have reason for that. So we've got some other tasks somewhere that actually is sending the prompt. And what did I program in? The prompt has, does it have links to the site? Maybe it doesn't. Oh, it's probably because it doesn't have a linkless site. Okay. So maybe I've never had to make a full link on this version of the site. I have it on the homeschool app somewhere. I'm trying to remember how I did it there. I think I did something crazy. Yeah. Boo. All right. So this was my solution for dealing with, is it under HTTPS or not? So we've got this, and I don't know that this is the best way. This is a way to do this. There we go. So we've got something, and I even did like a little wrapper. Oh wow, look at this. Wow, that's kind of a cool little utility that I wrote once upon a time. I'm just going to steal it, because why not? It's my code. So let's bring this over, and let's go to the core apps. We're going to create our site over here, and I'm going to insert and paste it all. It is dependent on that setting, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I guess you could depend on debug too if you wanted to. But there is some times where I run this with debug turned off for some reasons. So I can't 100% rely on that. But good suggestion, I appreciate that. So let's go back to the settings. Let's go to, like, I started getting to application specific stuff after the Django stuff. There's like third party. Here's where the third party stuff starts. And then, well, just take what I had over here. App settings. We'll do that. And we're going to have that this is secure by default. So it's defaulting to true, so that this would generate HTTPS. But we don't want that for doing local development, so we need to go to the env example, and we're going to add somewhere alphabetically hi, so is secure, and we will say off. Now that's not going to be enough for get it to apply yet. So I'm going to have to put on secrets mode for a minute and go to my actual env file, and I'm just pasting in the same value, and then I'll return to this and bring all this stuff right back. There's one piece of gear I did not mention. I have a Stream Deck in front of me that allows me to quickly, I used to have to like fiddle with a bunch of stuff over here. Now I've got some buttons that handle that. So we've added the is secure thing. We now have this full reverse URL, which takes our URL name. Cool. So I think at this point we can, return to the account tasks where this was. And instead of saying get site and doing all this stuff, what I want to do instead is say login URL and do, from journal dot core site import full URL reverse, and then we can do full URL reverse and pass in, I think login was the name, what I named the route, wasn't it? No, Sesame login. Sesame login. Okay, so we've got the user, we've got the actual route that we want to add. Let's return to what the docs were saying. We need to do the get query string part, and then we just bonk it on there with a plus. So we're going to have well, let's just put it here. We don't need to do this twice. So let's do django-sesame, Sesame, where is it? Sesame utils. From, why does it keep indenting like that? That's so weird. From Sesame, what? Import get query string. So this should give us everything we need. We'll do get query string and we'll pass in the user. And oops, we need the user. So the user is, where do I have the user in this app? I think I put it in accounts. Yep, there it is. Yeah, Abe, I do remember the is secure thing. I don't remember where it worked though and what it based it off of? Like if it's based off of a header? Let's go look. Why not? So if we go to the Django source code and bring this up and search for the definition of is secure. That's on the request. All right, so it is able to do that based off of if you have a request object that is actually like has been parsed correctly by the framework. But what I don't know is like, does that work with proxies? I'm not sure. Maybe. Well, I guess here we go. The scheme attribute is a little more complex based off some settings. So I don't know what mine would come out as if I had it. But in this context, I don't have a real request. We're working. This is the other bit about this is like it's good if you have a view and you're working with a request, but if you're working in a background job, like we are, is-secure is not really available, which makes its utility a lot less. Okay, so we've now got our magic link. So we need to send an email. Entries transmitter is where I'm currently sending emails. So we have this function that sends a prompt, and this is more complicated because I'm doing a bunch of tracking on these particular emails. These ones are really important. I don't want to do the same level of tracking on this. What I'm trying to get to is should we follow this pattern in some way? So the difference is what about this? So this is, hold on, let me scan through this for a moment. We're not going to be adding all this context stuff, but what we want to essentially render an email template that has both a text and HTML version of the login. So if I just steal all this code for the moment and paste it here, we're missing render to string, we're missing a bunch of stuff, but we're gonna definitely need these things in this task. I don't know, we might refactor this to put it in somewhere cleaner later, but I don't care at the moment. So we've got the template loader. We need the anymail message. Anymail is the package I'm using to actually make sure that we send to SendGrid. You can use the straight up Django email stuff instead. I think I used anymail here in this context because I needed to attach some metadata to it. So we may not actually need the anymail message. Instead, we might want to just use Django's stock email, but at the same time, it's like, I'm okay if I'm just consistently using anymail in here because I know that this app is going to use anymail. So who is this coming from? This is going to come from, what needs to be true about this for sure is that it needs to come from email.journeyinbox.com. That's where all of my email config, I'm not getting into that today, all of that email configuration has to come from that particular subdomain. But what I put on the other side is up to me. So here, I want to say, I want it to be not the journal itself. This is going to come from Journey Inbox. But we do want to say no reply. So don't try and reply to this. And then I think we're close here, where we're going to have a context, and we can put in what? We want to put in the login URL. Whoops. So this is going to be how we're getting that. We're going to render, we're going to change what we're rendering soon, but this is who it's coming from. We're we need to put in our subject. Okay. Well, look at that. Look what it did over here. That formatting is funky. What? And then if I delete that, okay, whatever. My formatter might yell at me but I'm okay with that for now. We don't have an account here. We have a user. But it is the same email. We've got our from email. I think because this is shorter now, we can probably get rid of this and just join it there. Have it be on a one-liner. In fact, what the heck's going on here? Yeah, look at that. That's super wild. It's joining those things together that looks really bizarre. So let's make it stop looking so bizarre. Hey Zephyr, welcome back. I don't even remember what version of my NeoVim you saw. Was it light screen? It's probably a light theme, wasn't it? I bet that was what it was. Okay, so we've got who this is coming from. It's going to come to no reply. We're going to fix our subject here in a minute. The body is going to be the text version. The from and the to are set. And then we're going to add on to it. We're not actually going to use as metadata, but this is how we add on the HTML version. So we're rendering two different versions of the email and sending those that way. And then eventually it calls this version of send. Actually, if you recall, if you were here last time, this is the thing that we're going to actually watch for in the test to make sure that the email is sent by checking the outbox. Otherwise, we had nothing to test, really. So it's sort of the culmination of all of these things. I'm okay at this point writing some like bigger tests that maybe run more code at once, especially if it's just me. I don't want super fine granular tests for every tiny little thing. But let's change where our emails are going to go, or what they're going to render from, sorry. So this is the accounts. This will be email. Let's call it login text. Let's repeat that there and then change it to HTML. So this will totally fail. And this is a great time. This would be a fantastic, well, it'll fail because there's actual broken code here. But it also failed because we don't have these templates yet. But let's change the subject. The subject will be, what's a good subject for this? Login, sign in to Journey Inbox. I don't know. Sure, let's go with that. What's going on? Oh, I know, I see it. Okay, we've got our from, we've got our to, we've got, in fact, I could probably get rid of some local variables here, clean up. Like that. And it feels a little weird. Okay, so I guess the stuff at the top is all towards building up the content, and then the stuff at the bottom is actually for sending the messages. But that's not a bad breakdown if I think of it that way. I was trying to like, what is the logical grouping for some of these things? Maybe slightly more clear would be like these two are just about rendering. These are like free data, but these are like it's so close to it that I'm okay treating it like that. Yeah. Okay, let's try to test this. So let's go do the accounts test tasks. That does exist right now. Because I did some tests for the actual expire trials, this one right above it, this periodic task. This is a new task. Whoops. And there's probably going to be a little bit of redundancy here, frankly, because there's if I run this right now, I bet, actually, let's see. Because we have an implementation, I bet this will blow up now. Oh, no. Interesting. Interesting. I thought it would have failed for sure with our core view. So we have this view, and I tested that. And I have this index test, and we were testing that it got all the way through here. What's curious about this to me is I would have expected this to blow up, right? Because if we got the task here and there's no template, how did it get through? How did it get through this? That doesn't make any sense. Because this is supposed to, all right, well, what's the flow? I guess let's show. Show rather than tell. All right, so we know that we got to a 302. How do we get to a 302? We got to a 302 because there's this redirect reverse at the end here, which means that this form save executed. And if we go into the form save, you can see that we actually call the user or create, and then we call the generate magic link. Now, my expectation was that generate magic link from that test would have actually executed because if we look at the project test settings, oh, that's getting a little small, sorry. We've got this immediate thing, which tells you, hey, run this right away. Don't try and run it in some process. There's not going to be any process. Just run it inline in here. So what's a little disturbing, perhaps, is it's like this swallowed this up. So like, did it not do what we actually wanted it to do? So I think it's going to be interesting when we run this directly. Is it going to run the way we expect it to? I don't know. So let's try it. And then we're going to test all of this end to end anyway. So I'm like confident that we'll catch whatever is going on in case I don't understand something. It's also possible that the way that Huey is actually running these tasks is just allowing a task to run and then silently ignoring the failures, which would be bad because it would make it harder to test tasks. But we're going to find out. So test generate magic link, we'll call this. And it's going to be, I don't know, test sends email. I thought I wrote some other, didn't I write a to-do or fix me somewhere? I did. It's in the form. Huh. Okay, hold on. So we definitely have some of this somewhere. Account test forms. Where we have I even like signaled to myself last time that we were going to test this. And if you're calling form.save and you're valid, how did you not explode when you get here? What the heck? Or sorry, here. Really where I would have expected this to explode. This absolutely does not exist. So we should get a template rendering error. What's up? What's going on? All right, so I'm gonna do, we should have a factory. I have a user factory, do not? From, well, that's the right factory, so user factory. And we should be able to say user factory. And then we want to also bring in generate magic link. And we want to call this generate magic link with user ID. Why did you pass? What? What? Print running. More running. Assert false, so it fails. What? It totally swallowed that error. Boo. Boo. So, I mean, I knew my expectations, right? But what do I do with this? I can't unwrap. Well, I could. I could do. What are ways that I could handle this? One kind of silly way to make this more testable. It's gross. It's gross, y'all. Let's do it. Let me show it. We've got this generate magic link thing. I could do this. I could say generate magic link, and then take this and do generate magic link as like and assign it, and then do pass in this. Essentially, we're doing a way to like call the decorator without calling it, like that. And then at that point, over here, instead of running against this, we could run against the function directly. Whoops, the function directly by like this. And I think at this point it'll finally explode. So whatever wrapping is happening, that's a way to test this for real. That sucks. That's terrible. I mean, excuse me. That stinks. It's not cool. Abe, have I tried using the terminal inside of NeoVim? Yes, I have. I don't really like it. It's not really to my preference. I did see TJ DeVries, someone who is on YouTube, does a lot of NeoVim stuff. And he recently had a video on running the terminal in NeoVim. I guess I've just gotten comfortable with like keep my terminal over here, keep my code over here, flip back and forth. It's been fine. Yeah, that's been my view. Let's see. Let's go. Let's try. See if they know about Huey. With Python Huey, the immediate mode seems to swallow failures when running with PyTest. Is there a way to not do that? I don't know. That's probably not a very good question to GPT, but let's try. Instead of using, always eager. PyTest configuration, custom error handler. Okay, let's look at that always eager stuff. I thought that this basically meant this. So I don't know if ChatGPT is hallucinating here. So let's look at Huey. And we'll search for, what was it? Always eager? Always eager. Yeah, it's hallucinating. It's been renamed to immediate. Okay. Well, shoot. Let's see if, all right, let's read some of the stuff here about, and we can read more on immediate mode. Maybe there's other hints about what to do so that it doesn't swallow exceptions. As the name implies, tasks are run immediately instead of being unqueued. Yep. Immediate mode is designed to be used during development, testing and development. Yep. When immediate mode is enabled, it switches to in-memory. Cool. No longer requires special casing. Great. All right. Talk to me. Immediate mode places this. Fine. Yeah, John, that's a good question. I don't know. There's a PyTest aspect to this. By default, immediate mode will use in memory. You prefer? I don't want to use live storage with that. Nope. 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 I don't understand. It seems like a bug. Boo. Okay. GitHub. I have Huey in here somewhere. There it is. Well, no joke on the issues here. Let's see what there are about immediate. Because he might have like closed to be like, I'm not doing that. Unit testing. Maybe is interesting. I don't know. Looking for things that mention exceptions. I'm not really seeing it though. It is interesting to me that it did take the trace back and something formatted it and put it into standard out, right? Like there was definitely something there. Oh, this is the unwrapped version. Okay. Let's do, or yeah. Let's do this. Right? So Huey API, I mean, we can go read that code, I guess, figure out why it did that. API 421. I'd be a little interested actually to go see it. So let's go into the virtual environment and go to lib, site packages, and then go to Huey. We've got API 421. There's an exception, right? So there's the task execution. It's executing. So, okay. So it's just like catching it. Signal error. What does this emit? Def emit. Send a signal. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to decide if is it worth it? Is it like do I need to have this solved perfectly? Like I have a solution. It's not. I don't like it. frankly. Like, I don't like that I have to call my, like, create my actual task here through this style. Hey Tim, welcome. Why not Go? That's a good question. I like Go. I use Go at work. I've done plenty of stuff Go. I've given demonstrations on Go. What I have found though, and maybe you have suggestions, but I like the aspect about Python, or particularly Django, is that it's like one all-encompassing framework, and there's a clear all-encompassing framework. Hey Akil, welcome. And like, it has all these features that I need. With Go,